So a question keeps going around in my head. How much damage could Boris Johnson actually do to this country? Now, there's only really two types of people who are celebrating Johnson's uh, newfound role as Prime Minister. Those who have no idea about politics and think he's a bit of a laugh, why the hell not? And those who are anti-British in every way because this man is a serial bumbler, pathological liar, and outright failure of life, and destroys everything he touches. He has no interest in serving the country, it is only serving his ego. But I have to admit, while I was concerned in going through the scenarios that he could cause in my head, I didn't actually stop to think about who he would have in his cabinet. And this is the real kicker. See, Johnson's cabinet, while being an amazing reshuffle, it is now a who's who of the most deplorable anti-British people possible. And I say anti-British because if you vote to cut education, well, that's a vote against Britain because you're taking away prospects of nurturing and encouraging intelligent people in Britain because you're not funding education. If you vote against the NHS, if you vote for NHS cuts, if you vote for more privatisation, well, again, you're voting against Britain because you're taking away a public health service. There are a lot of different layers, and there are very, very clear pro-British and anti-British voting ways to vote. And every single opportunity, every single one of Boris's cabinet has voted against Britain's interest. Now, what I've seen, especially from a particular friend of mine, when asking them what they think about this, is, oh yeah, well now the government's full of Brexiteers. We're going to get it done. I've said the pitfalls of Brexit umpteen times on this channel, and it's been said on other people's channels. If you still think Brexit is going to do well for this country, you're a bit of a moron. It's not that I don't believe the UK could be great, it's that we rely heavily on the EU for so many small and huge things. To simply ignore them and say, we'll get by because we're British, which is the Elfrick line, no, that is an incredibly stupid way of going about it. But more to the point of a friend of mine, the government was full of Brexiteers in the beginning. See, Theresa May stopped an investigation into the Brexit campaign, protecting Brexiteers. Now, while her official stance might have been leave, she supported Brexit. And certainly she supported Brexit when the vote came through and she became Prime Minister. But also who she put in cabinet was, while it was a mix, it was heavily more towards Brexiteers. Dominic Raab himself was actually the Brexit secretary until he finally actually realised that Dover, the gateway to the UK with 10,000 lorries coming through every single day, is kind of important, and nothing has been done with Dover in terms of customs. Nothing. But now, of course, Dominic Raab is back in the cabinet. Now, he's not running Brexit. He's not the Brexit secretary, but he's still in the cabinet. And that leads on to a bigger issue that I have. Jacob Rees-Mogg got his promotion, of course, because he's besties with Boris Johnson. Peri Patel, Theresa Villas, who's now essentially the environment's protector, which is laughable considering she's one of the most pro-oil companies going and anti-green projects out there. Dominic Raab. We have a plethora of scumbag politicians who, again, have consistently voted against the best interests of this country. Even if you take Brexit out of this, Every single one of these people has an appalling record on voting when it comes to human rights, basic human rights, when it comes to education, when it comes to the NHS and social care, when it comes to police funding, when it comes to fire and rescue, when it comes to international diplomatic relations, when it comes to not starting pointless fucking wars. They have consistently voted against the best interests of the country. And again, I will leave a link to theyworkforyou.com where you can check the voting record of any member of parliament, including these disgraceful bunch of hooligans and criminals. Even without Brexit, Boris Johnson and his cabinet are set to do so much damage to the UK. I'm actually curious to see if we'd ever be able to recover from this. Keep in mind, Boris does not care about this country. He does not care about the people in this country. Boris cares about Boris. Normally I would say he only cares about him and his own, but considering that he can't decide how many children he has, I very much doubt his compassion goes anything beyond his own nose. We are in trouble here. And the fact that the new leader of the Lib Dems has already ruled out working with Labour because it's Corbyn, while it is a gross step and a bit of an insight to the rhetoric and the future that we can see.